Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. So I got a question. I am going to keep this one anonymous because I've been asked to keep this anonymous. Not even going to say the first name. I'm just going to call this guy Bubba. So Bubba has written me a question, or wrote me a question. I don't know which is proper, but Bubba, it doesn't matter when you're calling Bubba. So Bubba wants to know about carb cycling, and he says, John, I want to purchase your course when it comes out, but realistically, I probably can't afford it right now. I think he's talking about my fitness and diet course, you know, the infamous one that I talk about all the time that I haven't released yet, that I'm still putting the finishing touches on, that 5 years from now, I'll still be talking about putting the finishing touches on. No, I promise it'll come out at some time, but that's what he's talking about. He probably will be able to afford it. I'm not gonna make it too expensive. I'm wondering if you could point me to any sources or have any advice when it comes to carb cycling. I have been doing intermittent fasting with lower/medium carb dieting while also working out 1.2 times 6 days per week. I think that's 1 to 2 times 6 days per week. Always at least one cardio session in the morning with weights as well. About 3 to 4 days of this week, I'll do another 45-minute to 1 hour cardio sessions at night as well. Please help me out if you can, man. I am really struggling to lose weight. I'm working my freaking butt off at the gym, getting there at 5:30 a.m. when no one else is there. So I really think it must be diet at this point. I'm a bigger guy, about 6'2", 6'3", and 265 pounds right now. So I'm probably similar size to what you once were. Any advice or guidance would be greatly appreciated. Thanks. And he says, if you make a video related to this, please keep it anonymous for me, as I'm just not proud of my weight at all. I used to look very similar to how you look when I was 227 pounds with a solid six-pack in my Marine days, and I let myself go so much over the past few years, it's really hard for me to deal with, and I've gotten to the point where I'm sick of it and I have to change. Okay, so like I said, anonymous Bubba here. So here's the thing. I'm happy to give out the information. Yes, I am going to put out a course on this, but you guys know me. I'm going to give out, I'm not, here's one thing. I'm not going to hold back, okay? Just because I have some information that I'm going to sell or put a course or monetize in some way, doesn't mean I'm not going to give you as much as I can here. The thing about buying something from me is that you're going to get it packaged specifically for that, and you don't have to sort through 1,000 videos to try to find the pieces that you want, right? And you get it all in one thing, plus you're supporting the, you know, Simple Programmer and the growth of it. So when the diet and fitness program comes out, you'll probably find some of that advice, a lot of the pieces on the channel already. You know, obviously there'll be some specific stuff that is really hard to put into this format or that I haven't made videos on. But yeah, I'm going to share with you. I'm not holding, I just want to tell you that so that you don't think I'm holding something back, because I hate that idea. Like, I feel like you can't outgive the world, right? Like, as long as you, I've always talked about giving away 90% of what you do for free and charging for 10% of it, and that's the best marketing that you could possibly do, and I firmly believe in that. So I'm gonna give you my best answer here, okay, Bubba? So here's the thing. Diet, yes. Diet, yes. Okay? I think I did a video on, I'm trying to remember. Hopefully we can, you know, I realize I got to start pointing this direction for the cards. Oh, wait a minute. Let's think about this. I think it's this direction. We'll see. We'll see. I'm sure Rodrigo will let me know. But because I want to have the thing show up where the card, the little eye for the card is like right there in the corner, and the thing is there, and so the arrow points at the thing. YouTube is hard, guys. It's hard. Okay, it's not easy. So here's the thing. I think I did a video on why dieting is important, why exercise will not cause you to lose weight. Okay, and I'll recap it slightly here, and I'll basically say this. Look, here's what I do, okay? I eat 1 meal a day. I run about 40 miles a week most of the time. I lift 6 hours a week, okay? So that's basically working out 2 hours a day, 7 days a week, plus only eating 1 meal a day. I can still gain weight. I can still gain fat doing that. If I can do that, and the reason why I'm saying that is not to brag, although I have no problem bragging about that, but the reason why I'm saying that is because I want you to understand that even with that volume of exercise, even with restricting my eating to a very small window, diet is still important. It's still important. It's still number one. So, and I'm saying this also to discourage you if you're trying to use exercise to lose weight, because Are you going to do more than I'm doing? I mean, maybe you will, right? But it would get pretty insane, because what I'm doing is pretty insane. I mean, running 40 miles a week, that's pretty nuts. Plus doing the lifting on top of that. Working out 2 hours a day is a lot, okay? It is a lot, okay? And it's going to burn a lot of calories, but you can always, what's going to happen naturally, okay, in your body, and you can see this by marathoners, okay, is that you're naturally, the more that you exercise, the more that you're going to be hungry, and the more likely that you're actually going to gain weight. I know this is surprising, but when people train for a marathon, I shit you not, okay? Look this up. They are more likely to gain weight than lose weight. Doing all those crazy runs, doing all the training, and there's a lot of training to train properly for a marathon, they're more likely to gain weight than lose weight. The same thing when people start exercise programs and cardio programs. Why? Because they get more hungry. They justify things in their head more. They don't understand just how efficient our bodies are at using calories and how little calories you burn in doing exercise. So exercise is not the way to lose weight. Exercise can enhance the weight loss. It can help you. It can also control the partitioning, right? So for example, if you're low on body fat, sometimes, and you'll see this with a lot of bodybuilders, a lot of people, athletes that are trying to get their conditioning down before a show or physique competition or something like that, is will add the cardio on top of the restrictive diet in order to make sure that a majority of the weight that they're losing, the extra calories that they're burning, is coming from fat stores, and when they're doing fasted cardio, and not from muscle, so they're not breaking down muscle as much when they're on low calories. So that is the reason why you might add the cardio. Now, cardio is good. It's good for the health, good for the heart, obviously to some degree, but it's not going to be your primary way of losing weight. With the exception, I will say this, though, that what a lot of studies have found is that if you're doing very, very low aerobic cardio, low impact, like if you're walking on a treadmill, you're not going to cause as much hunger. So it's not going to compensate as much, right? And walking is actually more beneficial in that regard than running, if that makes sense to you. It's a little bit bizarre, but there was a period of time when I dropped down. I'll give you kind of my protocol. When I dropped down from like 290 down to, I was low to 189. Now, I lost a lot of muscle along the way, so I wouldn't replicate this today. That's why I'm working on a different diet program and whatnot, is because this is not the most efficient way. But what I did was I basically restricted calories down a lot. I used a lot of fillers. So I would eat, my breakfast would be like egg whites mixed with spinach, frozen spinach, and just mix that up. Or I'd have like a fat-free Greek vanilla yogurt or Greek yogurt and add a little bit of Splenda to it. And then for lunch, I'd eat these like 100-calorie soups, but I'd dump all these frozen vegetables into it. So I'd make this big soup out of it, and I'm trying to think what else, and a bunch of spinach, and I think I put some cottage cheese in there. Yeah, that's. And then for dinner, I'd have chicken and broccoli, and then I would walk on the treadmill on an incline for about 2 to 3 hours a day while I'm working, right? Have my laptop on there. And that worked great. I was losing like 5 pounds every 2 weeks pretty consistently all the way down, but I did lose a lot of muscle. So my point is a couple things there. First of all, the number one thing that was working for me was that I was measuring calories, and I was in a calorie deficit that I was controlling from a dietary perspective, okay? The second thing that I was doing was I was doing the walking, so I wasn't actually increasing the appetite, and I was very strict and disciplined with it. So you can get results doing that. But if I'm going to advise you, Bubba, on what to do here, it would be this. It would be, you need to take the time, okay? And I've told you this many times if you've watched my channel, is that you need to go and you need to take the time, set aside the day, and plan out your meals, okay? So you need to actually do the math. I know it's a pain in the ass. I know, but the pain is temporary, okay? But if you're not losing weight, you need to be in a calorie deficit. That's the number one thing. I've done videos on this. You can check out all the videos. I'm supposed to point this way. The fitness videos I've done on this channel, and you can go through that playlist and look for the stuff about ketogenic and intermittent fasting. Like, there's no secret here. Ketogenic diet, not a secret here. here. It can help with the partitioning so that you lose more fat, but that's going to be more important when you're down, when you're really lean, you're trying to get that last bit of leanness. Same thing with eating one meal a day, right? There's psychological benefits, but again, it's not going to do anything magic as far as violating the laws of thermodynamics, okay? So what you need to do is you need to sit down, get a spreadsheet, get a fitness calculator, go to MyFitnessPal, download it on your phone, whatever, and go through and actually plan out meal A, meal B. In fact, you should plan out day A and day B, okay? That's it. You're just gonna have 2 variations of days that you're gonna eat so that you'll have some variation, right? And that for more than one reason. One reason being that it's not healthy to eat the same foods every single day. You gotta have a little bit of variation in there. And 2, it will be pretty fucking monotonous. Just day A and day B is gonna be pretty monotonous as it is, but go and do that. Later you can add C and D if you want to get more fancy, but let's just keep it simple. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna calculate and you're gonna figure out how many calories should you burn in a day. So you can use one of those calculators online and it'll tell you based on your weight what your base metabolic rate is, okay? And you're gonna use that and probably take 10% off of that just to be on the safe side. And then you're going to construct meals, okay, that are going to be giving you a deficit. So let's say that you want to lose, let's say, a pound a week. A pound is about 3,500 calories. It's pretty easy. 500 calorie deficit per day, 7 days a week is gonna get you 3,500 calories. If you take a cheat day and you eat 10,000 calories in cheat day, are you gonna gain or lose weight? You are going to gain weight, my friend, so you can't do that shit. Doesn't mean that you don't ever have a cheat day, but hey, let's get our calories in line first and let's create a bigger deficit in order to make up for the cheat. So, best advice to you, like I said, is sit down, come up with these numbers. You can find the calculators online. I know you guys are analytical and you can do this. I know this is a pain in the ass and it's not fun, but you got to figure it out and you measure it out and you figure out whatever, the macro ratios, the macronutrient ratios, we could talk about that. But I don't think it's so important when you're overweight and trying to lose fat. What I would say is a decent balance, right? If you are having trouble losing weight, if you tend to gain weight easy and have trouble losing it, and especially you have big trouble areas, then you probably are pretty carb sensitive, especially if you've been overweight for a long time. So I would probably keep the carbs on the lower side, especially if you've been doing this before. So, you know, in general, maybe your carbs might be 20% of your macros. I wouldn't worry too much about this if you're overweight though. Let's not make things complicated, right? I could talk to you all day about macros. I'm not saying that they're not important or that I can talk, but I'm just saying that, like, let's focus on the simple stuff so that you'll actually do it, because compliance is extremely important. If you have a plan, if you have a diet and you don't follow it, it's not going to fucking matter. So we could talk about timing and all kinds of crazy like stuff, but let's paint a broad stroke first, and let's get the most important thing done, which is that you're in a calorie deficit, okay? Once you're losing weight there, we can optimize and whatnot. And you know, like I said, in the fitness program, I will talk more about that, but I'm trying to give you the best advice here and not take 2 hours to do it. So come up with meal plan A and meal plan B. Plan it out. If you want to do 3 meals a day, that's cool. If you want to do 5, that's cool. I don't recommend that. But if you want to do 1 meal a day, that's the simplest fucking thing. That's what I do. And then it's really, really simple. And you just calculate what those calories are going to be for that 1 meal and the foods that you're going to eat. And here's what you should eat, okay? If you are going to eat carbohydrates, which you're going to eat some of them, make sure it's low glycemic index carbohydrates. So what does that mean? Should be mostly vegetables. That's going to keep you more full anyway. Green leafy vegetables are good. They're good for you, and they have a high content of fiber, so you can eat a lot of them and be full and not be hungry all day. So that's the primary reason why I would recommend that. If you're going to eat other kind of starches, like sweet potatoes are good, right? Quinoa, right? Wild rice or brown rice, that's the whole kernel brown rice, or what, I forget what they call it, but that has high fiber. Just look for the fiber count, right? Things that are high in fiber, those are going to be the low glycemic index carbs. So you want to eat that kind of stuff, okay? Very similar to what paleo, right? It's actually, probably paleo is pretty close to an optimal diet for this kind of thing, even though I don't buy into the whole, you know, history behind the paleo thing or whatever they're still pretty spot on with the diet plans, aside from some of the crazy shit, right? You don't have Just think about that, okay? So those are gonna be your foods, and as far as protein sources, you know, it doesn't really matter that much, but you know, you're gonna probably eat a lot of chicken breasts or chicken thighs. I prefer the thighs. It's not that much more calories, right? Maybe some lean meats, right? You're not gonna load up on fat unless you're specifically doing a ketogenic diet, but let's not complicate things, okay? And then as far as the fat sources, try to get some good healthy fats in there, you know, salmon, fish oil, you could add olive oil, things like that, some nuts, but be careful in the fats because they're gonna be super high calorie. If you're chowing down on almonds, you're gonna have problems. So this is what you do, okay? You come up with those plans, and then for the first week or so, you're measuring that shit, okay? You are measuring that shit. You are measuring that shit, okay? I know it's a pain in the ass. I know using a food scale is a pain in the ass. I know that you think you can eyeball that shit, but you are not losing weight, so you are measuring that shit. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay? So you're gonna measure it, and you're gonna make sure that you are actually eating the calories that you expect. Don't add extra condiments and stuff unless you account for that. And I want you to account for everything in your little MyFitnessPal app so that you know what you're doing every single day and track your weight and see what happens. And it may take some time, and if you are not losing weight, increase the deficit. If you are losing weight and you're too impatient, be more patient, right? Maybe if you're losing 2 pounds a week, you're good. Okay, if you're losing less than that, then maybe, you know, depending on where you're at, then we could talk. But don't expect to lose a lot more than 2 pounds a week unless you're really, really overweight. And follow that. And then when you start to, and you're gonna have to adjust it. You're gonna have to drop those calories down over time, okay? And eventually, it's gonna become less and less, okay? But you gotta follow that. And eventually what will happen is that you'll get used to cooking these meals. You'll get used to meal A or day A and day B, and you'll have very quick ways where you won't have to measure it out. You'll be able to eyeball it a little bit more and once you're having success. But when you're not having success, okay, what you have to do is you have to go back to the basics. You have to get really fucking strict, and you have to make sure that you're doing things right, and it's going to come down to diet. It's not going to come down to the exercise and all that. Add the exercise, add the cardio, that's fine, that's great, that will help accelerate things, but until you have the diet down, it's really not going to matter. It's going to, like, and the thing is, like, a lot of times when I coach people too, I don't even have them do any cardio or any lifting when they're trying to lose weight. And I'll tell you why, is because I'd rather have them focus 100% on the diet and not be tired and not be exhausted and not feel drained, so they can focus on doing what's going to be 90% effective, and then they can add that stuff later. So if you're having trouble doing all the stuff and you really just want to focus on losing the fat, then drop the other stuff. Just do some walks, just do some simple stuff, and make sure that you get the diet in check, because the diet is 90% of the way. If you get that, right, then you'll be fine. But if you don't get the diet, you can waste so much time and so much effort. And I've been there, and I've spent hours in the gym, hours on treadmills, hours running, right? And I'm sabotaging myself. It's almost a waste. It's a wash, right? Because I'm eating fucking Oreos or something, doing something stupid that is sabotaging myself. And so it's a waste of effort. I could have been spending that time doing something much better than doing cardio when I'm negating the effects of that cardio. It doesn't make any sense. So this is a trap, okay, that a lot of people get into, and that's, you got to get off of that. You got to get off of that, and you got to do it by diet. All right, that's all I got for that. I know it's a long video, but I know a lot of you have been struggling with this. If you are struggling with it, this is what you got to do. And now, if you're still having trouble after this, then we could talk. Then there's some other things we could do to optimize. But I can almost guarantee you that if you do this, you will start to lose weight and you'll see the progress. And as long as you stick to it, then you'll be fine. And forget about cheat meals. Forget about cheat meals. If you are overweight, if you're over 20% body fat, you don't need fucking cheat meals, okay? When you're down to 10% or lower, then everything that I'm saying does not apply to you in this video, okay? In order to get down below that, we gotta do some special shit. That's where things get complicated. But if you're above that, if you're above 10%, especially if you're above 20%, all you gotta do is focus on diet, get a calorie deficit, and plan those meals out. And that is what is going to get you there. All right. Hopefully you found this useful. If you did, click that subscribe button. If you know a fat ass who needs to watch this video, share the video to them. Why the hell not? All right, I'll talk to you next time. Take care.